Hi, I'm Matt.
I'm Kent.
Justin.
Welcome to Comic Run, where we go and get comics and food during our lunch break at the jobs that we work. Anyways, we were just talking about it, and then we realized that we should probably just save it for the camera, but they're making a new Alien movie.
Yep. What's his name? Neill Blomkamp. He's the guy that did District 9.
Is doing it.
It can't possibly be real.
No, it is. Sigourney Weaver already confirmed it.
Oh, well, that's the problem right there.
He was leaking stuff on his Instagram about a month ago saying, well, I was working.
Looked awesome.
And it was called like Alien, was it? It had a weird name, Alien Novus or something like that. And then it was, they never went forward with it. But he was leaking his promo art.
You know what the problem is with the Alien franchise? Is that at the end of the day, it's not really Sigourney Weaver that's the star. I mean, yeah, she's the Hollywood star. She is the face of the franchise, but she doesn't need to be. Like, the aliens are the star. Like, you know, like that's why people went and saw shitty Alien versus Predator movies twice.
Yeah,
but you know, she doesn't have to be a clone or, you know, resurrected from the dead or anything. Like, it just totally minimizes that character.
So you didn't know about this news. Here's the part that'll spin you, is that he is saying that in his continuity it is in the spirit of Alien, and that it is a sequel to Aliens, and that 3 and 4 don't happen in his continuity, or that they're not addressing it, that it'll happen directly after Aliens.
Well, that really worked for Superman Returns, right? I mean, everyone loves that movie. Oh, we're just gonna go after the second movie. Everyone loves that one.
Or Jaws. Jaws also happened. Jaws 3D, where all of the reports when Jaws: The Revenge came out was like, this completes the Jaws trilogy. Well, wait a minute, wasn't there that movie that had...
We forget about that movie because we didn't like it.
Listen, but the one with Dennis Quaid, the trilogy.
Some fans pointed out that Resurrection could technically happen after whatever he does, because they don't really go into the specifics of how Ripley is resurrected, just that they got her DNA and used it to build another one. So that one could still happen hundreds of years in the future, but it pretty much rules out the third one unless he does some real magic with getting everyone back in their pods at the end of the movie. All of you as you were.
Does this mean that we get the, what's his face, Michael Bean, or, who's the
concept art shows Ripley and a heavily scarred Hicks. He's got the acid burns on half his face. And there was a shot of what looked like older Ripley wearing a biomechanical suit. It looks like an alien, but it was labeled Space Jockey flight suit. And it showed her with like the mask down, and then also like a dome that comes down that looks like the front of the Xenomorph.
Huh.
So, that could be cool.
So where does that leave Prometheus, right? That's supposed to have a sequel now too.
Well, but Prometheus doesn't really contradict anything from Aliens. It's just more fleshing out the backstory of that universe. Like,
so does that mean? Well, we'll see. I mean, they said production dates or?
I don't know if they've given it dates. They just confirmed that like it had gone from rumor to it's actually being May.
Yeah.
Right? And now all that concept art can get thrown out and replaced with a new script at some point. But I have faith in this dude, because District 9 was excellent, and District 9 happened because he was actually contracted to do Halo, the game, as a movie, and guy did the Lord of the Rings movies. Peter Jackson was supervising, and he was going to produce it or direct, and then they scrapped it. And he said, you know, I feel bad. Well, I really believe in your abilities or whatever. So we're going to transfer you onto. Well, since he had a contract, they were like, we'll do another movie. Here's the money. Well,
District 9 was really excellent. I like that movie. That's a really cool alien science fiction movie. So yeah, the guy's got some chops.
Speaking of,
I don't know.
Speaking of good sci-fi, you saw the Power Rangers, Matt?
Yes.
Did you see the Power Rangers?
The gritty Power Rangers reboot.
Jesus.
Wait. So
it's what's the name of the guy? It's written down over there.
Adi Shankar.
Yeah, because he's the guy that did the Punisher Dirty Laundry and
man, he's just
and Dread.
is he getting like ad revenue from doing these things, or is this just like his hobby?
I mean, who's the main dude from our childhoods that we know and love? Dawson's Creek. What's his face?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't write it down. It's the dude from Dawson's Creek. Plays the Red Ranger.
Green Ranger, wasn't he? Because she's like, you never understood.
There's two versions of the Red Ranger. The two that fight at the end are the Red Ranger. Now, I was never a Power Rangers fan, but I read up on this there was a Reddit thread.
So my, I mean, I don't know. I saw the original movie. James Van Der Beek was the dude, but yeah, that shit was dark.
So it cold starts into a battle scene that looks like fucking Normandy. And it's Power Rangers running everywhere with assault rifles shooting into the sky, and then it pans back and you just see giant robots like beating the hell out of each other in the background and smoke, and you're like, what the heck is this? And then
visual effects.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's 10 minutes
CGI
long.
It's 14.
Yeah, it's all CGI. And he's using like virtual screens and shit, but then like
it's that they've got the Pink Ranger prisoner and they're interrogating her about where everyone else is, and so then it's done as a series of vignettes of what happened to each ranger.
The best one in just in terms of like the sitcom aspect of it, and she's like, tell me about tell me about blah blah blah. You were married to him, and she's like, yep, for 8 minutes. And then it shows him like in a pickup truck, and she's just got like the veil on, and they're like, I'm so happy, and then all of a sudden a bunch of shotguns come through and kill him.
And it's a bunch of rednecks like shoot.
No, it's the rednecks from the show.
Yeah, it's
the two dorkies.
Vulcan skull.
Yeah, they're like, you fucking sold us out.
and it was because the aliens gave them better meth.
Yeah. And so the whole thing is really dark. Like, and James Van Der Beek's running around going, "Child warriors." Like,
we were kids. It's Katie Sackhoff is the Pink Ranger.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So Starbuck. It's incredibly dark, and then people are like, "Yes, make a movie of this." And I guess the people that own the rights to the Power Rangers are already trying to get it all pulled from the internet, going, "Those are our characters. It doesn't matter if this is a parody or an interpretation. You can't do that."
When the movie came out, so my dad's company shipped the first shipment of the DVDs or the videos when they came out.
Mm-hmm.
And this was before Netflix and everything, so it was
right.
Couldn't watch it if you didn't have the video. And one of them fell off the truck. And
fell off the truck. Yeah.
Fell off the. Well, no, they were like, "Hey, this we found this in the warehouse."
Yeah.
And Dad's like, "Cool, here,
I totally
here, Ken."
just stole this for your son.
And so I had it on video like the whole week before everybody else. It was really, it was pretty cool back then.
I was a Voltron kid. I didn't get into Power Rangers. That was my little brother's thing. So
I think it's amazing that Power Rangers was around long enough that, I mean, maybe it wasn't, but I remember when I was in elementary school.
On.
Well, I remember when it was elementary school that the original Power Rangers was still on, and my mom was like, "In hell, you're gonna watch the show."
Oh yeah, it'll make you hit the other kids.
Yeah, and I was like 5.
Our kids' daycare at one point was no Power Ranger toys, no playing Power Rangers, no watching it, because they said every time the 5-year-olds start watching it, they're all kung fuing each other in the crotch on the playground.
Somebody gets whacked in the head.
Yeah, somebody gets hit in the head with a pair of plastic nunchucks, and everyone's crying.
But the weird thing too, and I don't know that you guys know this, but the Japanese Spider-Man with the giant transforming robot, he was actually the start, the Power Rangers, the stuff that they took and recut with all the American guys. That was actually sequels to what
there's a bunch of
Spider-Man was doing.
Yeah, there were a bunch of classic
70s.
They call them Sentai shows, and they almost always have 5-person.
Sentai.
Yeah, like a 5-person cast, usually a diverse group, but the Spider-Man
not as ethnically diverse.
Yeah, well, but they're usually different.
Color diverse.
Different colored hair, probably.
Well, and a lot of times they're different archetypes. Like there's the jock and the science kid and the whatever. But yeah, they were all
But here in America, we get the Yellow Ranger, which is obviously Asian. The Black Ranger, obviously black. That's how we diversify.
There was a parody show, and I can't remember what it was called, where they took the Japanese shows and they redubbed them with Mystery Science Theater style.
As the
it up online, but it was hilarious. Where he's like, "I will give you children digital watches," and they're all like, "Yay, digital watches!" Because none of the dialogue is the original. It's all very slapstick. They're like,
Woody Allen did a movie like that. What was it? And the game shows that
Oh,
they
yeah.
do.
I was into
Ninja Warrior.
you know, for a short period of time, I was into Beetle Borgs. You know, it's back when they were just
Beetleborg is.
yeah,
same stuff, except it had a their same sort of
insect
thing.
themed robots.
Insect themed robots, but I would have to do some research to find out how much the original show was based off of, because it was the way they got their powers is they went into a haunted house, and there was a mummy living in the haunted house, and Dracula, and
That sounds really stupid.
yeah, oh yeah, and then so the guy's like, all right, well, here, you guys are gonna be the defenders of the universe. Here you go. Here's some giant ships
with your shiny robot bug powers.
Yeah.
Okay, so my
That's
childhood,
the weirdest thing. Though.
we had Macross, which I was a little too young to get into, which here was Robotech. Voltron, which was like my age, like everybody in my elementary school was in Robotech or Voltron. And then like Jason and the Wheeled Warriors, Spiral Zone. What was the not Sky Captain?
Captain N.
No, well that was one of them too. But
Captain
it was the
Planet?
one. It was the guns that shot
Captain
you.
America.
You had they were
Captain
interactive
Marvel?
video.
Captain
Captain
Freeze?
Power. Captain Power. They had like airplanes and action figures and stuff, and when you clicked the trigger, they worked like an NES zapper where there were blinking cues on TV that told you whether you got points or were damaged. And it was like this whole, it only lasted 6 months or a year, but it was like a weekly TV show, and you've got your little jet pointed to the TV shooting bad guys. It was a ridiculously bad toy TV tie-in.
Huh.
I take it you guys didn't have any of those.
No idea.
It was about bad guys digitizing people into the computer. So there's their stolen from Tron plot.
I did get from my little niece sent from Japan a kind of like the current Power Ranger-esque TV show, which is apparently Cayman Raiders, but they're fruit themed. So he has pineapple powers. So I have the pineapple
Prickly
Cayman
stabs
Raider.
you.
I don't know how any of that works.
You know, the pineapple is the international symbol for a welcome home, welcomed house. You put so if you what you would typically do for parties, or if it's like, hey, come in, we're hanging out, is you put a pineapple out on your front porch, and then when the party's over, you bring the pineapple in.
So wait, this is universal everywhere except here? People know this?
No, it's if you now that I've mentioned that to you, like especially in our neighborhood, our uppity white neighborhood, rich upper class, you go around, you'll see a bunch of stay-at-home moms who have put out pineapple-themed things on their front porches. Not kidding you.
No, this is not a thing.
No, it's totally a thing.
There's an international standards group who's approved
When
this.
you go to Lowe's, look at how many doormats are with pineapples on them.
Well, we have approved this, and this is handicap parking. This is the international symbol for that. And you want to have a party, pineapple.
An impromptu party, you just put out a pineapple.
Just put out a pineapple. And,
Aren't those pretty seasonal? Just shut up. Everything else was taken. This is why we don't invite you to the committee,
It's one of the
Mitch.
bigger fruits, and it doesn't roll away like those watermelons did.
Yeah, they basically have their own stoppers,
So Matt, did you watch the end of Parks and Rec?
No.
I haven't seen it yet. There's been no new Flash this week.
No.
They also put it on with the same times as Peggy Carter, which ruined TV night for Kristen. She's like, I can't watch Peggy Carter and The Flash. TV night is ruined.
Last week's Flash was really good with the wrap up of the Firestorm thing. Yeah. I like the new look and the doodad that they're using to kind of emulate the costume and
Gorilla Grodd?
No. Well, Gorilla Grodd did show up and that was cool.
God?
No. Grodd. Like, only in this show could we take a scary psychic gorilla seriously. Like, oh yes, that's terrifying. Everyone else would be like, the monkey talks.
And what's his face did officially take off. He did do a full thing as Reverse Flash and take off his mask and show everyone that he was Reverse Flash.
So we all.
So we're not like, maybe it's an alternate future version of him that's evil. Maybe he's really good.
No, it could still be an
he's
alternate
bad.
future of him.
No. It's very. Ending of Parks and Rec. What's your favorite ending to a show? Are you big into endings of shows? Either of you?
We just finished this week Warehouse 13. Mm-hmm. We hadn't gone back and finished that little 6-episode final season, and we finished it like Tuesday night, and my daughter bawled her eyes out.
Was there closure?
Yes, they kind of put a bow on it. It was a little bit of a, they kind of did a clip show episode, except the clips were not from previous episodes.
And did something big happen in the last episode? Or would you say that like
they hinted that there was going to be major changes, and so everyone was like telling it was like this thing where they were doing a time capsule where they were storing their defining moment as a warehouse employee. So that's how you get the little flashbacks, but all the flashbacks were new content. Like they were episodes that never happened, and so they're all kind of ridiculous and funny. But yeah, Allison Scagliotti's character, she's the hacker / field agent. There's like a flash forward where she has a little monologue at the end, and it kind of puts a bow on what happened to everybody that worked there. And my daughter, who's 8, just lost her mind and bawled her eyes out for like 10 or 15 minutes. And I said, what's wrong? I mean, it didn't end bad. And she's like, I don't want it to be over. And we're like, well, it's sign of a good show if the kid's that attached to the characters at that point.
I guess.
End of season 2, House of Cards. Not technically the end of the show because there's another season coming. Man.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with House of Cards in particular, or like a lot of those shows where they're like, oof, we just don't, like, they have to leave it open-ended, but it's such a definitive like end of the season that it's like, man, if this, like,
that's it, I'm done.
If they're like, we are satisfied with the ending of this if we don't get renewed or if something happens.
How many episodes was that? It was like
20. It's like 20 episodes, 22 episodes.
It's like a 26-hour movie. It's like an episode of 24.
Stargate. Every time they've ended it, you're like, oh, that was pretty good. Now I'm bummed out that it's over. Except Universe, which ended on a huge cliffhanger and left everybody going, well, but what happened to them? Are they going to be okay?
Or, you have things like Star Trek that are like, well, we leave everything open-ended for the books and for the fan fiction.
I don't think that was purposeful, though.
I don't know. What was the last Next Generation movie? Nemesis?
The last Star Trek,
Nemesis.
Next Generation. Not movie, but television show was pretty decent. It's a classic episode.
When are we going to get a new Star Trek series? Aren't we about due? Have we hit the interval for somebody to risk it again?
Yeah, I don't know. I certainly hope it would be a television series and not a movie.
So what else?
Do we have anything happy or fun to talk about?
How does that tie into Star Trek?
Just when you said, oh, we're due, gotta have a new lead in. How long can you talk about Star Trek for? Yeah.
He could probably talk about Star Trek for a long time because you watched all of it, including the animated series. That's not right.
So, anything happened in the DC Universe, movie world? Anything discussed?
I don't think so.
Except the picture of Aquaman.
Oh yeah, Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I found it interesting that they didn't give him the scale armor thing on his shoulder. It's actually a tattoo that looks like Arthur's shoulder scale armor thing that was like in the, I don't know, the late 90s version of the Justice League.
Jumpsuit, where he's wearing the jumpsuit.
No, in the 90s it was the pants only, bare chest, piece of armor on one shoulder, and the hook hand.
And beard.
Crazy beard and ponytail for days.
1990s grunge.
Yeah, and nobody can have matching shoulder pads or boots. Everyone's got one tall boot, one short boot, one shoulder pad, lots of pockets, lots of bandoliers. Yeah, everyone looked like Cable. I tried to go back and read some Deadpool and Cable. Oh God, Cable's a terribly written character. He is not fun at all.
Which run were you reading?
It was that initial one where they somehow got bonded together so that every time they teleported, they got sent to the same place. And Cable hated Deadpool. So I was like, I like Deadpool. I don't like Cable. It's like that animated gif of Data doing the shot and then going, what is this? This is terrible. I hate this. Another one? Yes, please.
Oh, Data.
It's so weird that those are the two characters that, that and Squirrel Girl. Of all, like, the 1990s characters that didn't not survive. Cable and Deadpool. That's it. They've made it. Not only have they made it, but they've consistently had books with their names on them. Just talk about your generation, Justin. Talking about your generation.
Oh, by the way, Matt, so the second my new Twilight Zone came out, it's continuing, and apparently it's called Shadows and Substance. It's the series where I needed to get number 2.
Wait.
So there's 2 different Twilight Zone series running right now. One's on 12, but that one that I was reading, the first one, number 2 came out, so we're good.
But they're not one and done.
They're not one and done. This is
Then
continuing.
what's the point? Just slit your wrist now, Twilight Zone. It's not one and done in that style of comic, then just what's the point?
I think that, I'm going to guess this is
They're
going to
just
be 4 parts.
Drag you along, and I'm never going to get to the end of the mystery. Where's the twist?
The funny thing is, so this guy is already, like, the twist's already happened. He got on a plane, because he's a writer, and when he got off the plane, it was like 35 years beforehand. Like, he's in his own hometown where he's like 15 years old, 12, 15. And the problem is that, like, in comics, in Twilight Zone, I'm not actually sure if he's just being, like, incredibly sarcastic, or if he gets that it's been, like, that he's essentially hanging out with a younger version of himself. Because he's like, oh, yeah, man. Or he's just like, oh, yeah, man. Or the kid's like, oh, man, like, things are really bad in my family. And he's just like, oh, man, well, when you get older, it only gets worse. Like, well, are you foreshadowing it for him? Or, like, are you just down? Like, are you just really sad and your life is shit? Or are you warning the kid? I don't know. I don't know what you're doing.
I need sarcasm punctuation marks to be standardized.
Is there a sarcasm punctuation mark?
There is a movement to start a mark called, one of them that's been trademarked is called the Sark mark. It's like a inflection mark on each end of the sarcastic sentence. But other people have called for using existing punctuation in some format to denote it, because there's really no way in the written word to denote it other than just knowing the writer's behavior.
Italicized with a squiggly line right afterwards.
Speaking of writers, I saw yesterday they opened pre-orders for Ernie Cline's new book called, I think it's called Armada or something like that. And so that's the guy that did the book Ready Player One.
Okay.
And the new one is about some kid looking out the window of his classroom and seeing alien ships exactly like the ones in the video games he plays approaching Earth, and apparently for some reason the aliens are mimicking what they've seen in video games as their attack protocol. So like, the aliens are it's going to be like, I guess, like the Futurama episode where they're like, accelerate, descend, reverse direction. Ding, 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 ding.
So this is essentially going to be Galaxy Quest then?
It seems more like the aliens from Galaga are going to attack Earth, and they're going to use all the young gamers to fight back. I don't know. And they haven't explained whether it happens in the same universe as Ready Player One, or if it's a completely standalone book, or what. But hey, that's weird, and Ernie Cline's writing's pretty good, so.
Interesting.
Check it out.
Like, it's coming out in like June or July, I think.
Trope,
Yeah.
Because you've got an Ender's Game, right? So using video games to battle an alien.
Oh, I just thought of another tie-in. We made my daughter watch The Last Starfighter this week.
The Last Starfighter.
That movie is terrible.
Have you seen the Clerks episode?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Pyramid builder or something like that. It's like, you're the best pyramid builder player in the world, so
we're going to take you away, yeah.
And they bring him to Egypt, and then they start whipping him and trying to force him to build a pyramid.
Don't you think there's machines that can do this now? But you did this in only 6 hours.
What gets me about, the CG is really dated now, like worse than Tron. But
was it that really bad period of time in the early 90s?
It was the same. No, it was 84. It was the same year as Tron.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad, and there's like 20 some minutes of CG assisted. Like, it's either overlaid on real world visuals or it's just CG. But the plot is not very good when you take away the cool space fighter action. It's really like, well, I'm really good at a video game. Well, hey, I'm a mysterious stranger who wants you to get in my car. Okay, that's a bad idea. What are we teaching kids? Get in the weird alien's car? They abduct him. They tell him they can make him into a starfighter. And he says, no, I'm good. can I go home? So they take him home. Then all the starfighters get killed. And then he's like, no, I'll fight. So there's like this 15 or 20 minute period of the movie where he's like, no, never mind. All right, I changed my mind again. And you're like, did you guys just need like 20 minutes of filler? So you're like, let's go back to Earth and then go back to the aliens.
I'm good. I'm okay.
No, I don't think I want to die in a war. Thanks.
I've been watching The Blacklist a lot, and I don't know. It's that totally unreal emotion of like, no, we're asking you to be enjoying an intergalactic fleet of fighters. I'm good. Just going to school.
I'm not really feeling it.
Same with like Blacklist. Like this in the length of the first season, she has stopped something like 15 serial killers and found. And even if you're just like, well, the serial killer thing, whatever, she has rescued like 60 to 70 missing person cases.
But I don't really want to work with you because I think you're bad.
Yeah, like, you just make me so
put
angry.
Put him back in his cage and use him when there's somebody to rescue.
You make me so angry just with the way you talk.
I don't think I can trust you, even though we keep you caged up and on a transmitter so that we can find you.